Hello, my name is Mutaileni Shkokola, and today we'll look at simple checkmates. And before we get started into the lesson, I would like to ask you if you have a notebook and a pen, to have that nearby, because there are some important points that I would like us to underline. So, when looking at the game of chess, a checkmate is simply where we get a position where we put our opposition king where he has no valid moves. He has no correct moves and he is in check. That's what we call a checkmate, essentially ending the game. Now, there are various types of checkmates, numerous types of checkmates that can arise in chess. But we are going to cover the most essential types of checkmates and the most common checkmates that you are going to see. And I have listed them down in 6. The first one is the staircase checkmate. This is where you have a king and 2 rooks against your opposing king. Second is a queen checkmate. This is where you have a queen and the king against your opponent having just the king. Third, we have a rook checkmate. This is where you have a king and a rook against your opponent having only a king. Fourth is a back rank checkmate. This is where your opposing king has left his back rank completely open and he has covered his innermost front 3 squares with pawns or a piece. And then we can achieve the back rank checkmate. Fifth is the scholar's checkmate. This checkmate happens in the beginning of the game, usually in 4 moves, involving the queen and the bishop. And then 6th, we have the diagonal checkmate. I call it the diagonal checkmate. It involves a battle between a queen and a bishop against the king. And these are the most common types of checkmates. But today, we are going to get through the staircase checkmate. So the staircase checkmate begins in this position. First, we block off the black king. We have 1 rook that cuts off the king's ability to cross over to this side of the board. So basically, the black king, the opposing king, only has this rectangle of moves to play in. But what we do in the staircase is we simply cut off this rectangle until he gets over to the last part of the board. We use our 2 rooks simultaneously to push the king back to the edge of the board. So now here, this is a check, and the king only has 3 valid moves, these moves. He cannot come forward, like mentioned before, and he cannot stay on this file because he is in check and he has to move. So he goes back. And here, we bring our other rook into the game. Whilst this rook is doing the job of cutting him off, we use this rook to do the job of checking him and moving him behind. And now the king only has 3 valid moves here, and he has to go back. So he goes back, and we use our other rook to carry on with the staircase checkmate. And we push him further down. And once he goes into the last track, we can achieve checkmate with this rook. Because now he is in check and he has no valid moves. Or the moves that he could potentially play would leave him in check. But there are different situations in the staircase checkmate. We are going to go back to the starting position. In this situation, when we play check, the black king could have in mind some tricks. He can move here, starting to follow one of the rooks. And once we carry out the check here, he comes here. And this is a common mistake that sometimes students make. They just carry on with the staircase checkmate without realizing the position is different. And if we play here, that is a mistake because now the king can take your rook because it is under attack. So in this position, what we want to do you want to come over here. And now the king would want to come back to continue to attack one of the rooks, but this time he is too late. And you carry on with the staircase checkmate from this side of the board. And once the king goes into the last rank, you finish off the staircase checkmate. So the staircase checkmate is a very important thing in simple checkmates. You can carry out the staircase checkmate with the queen and the rook. You can carry out the staircase checkmate with two queens. And the patterns come up in other checkmates as well. And then from here, we can go further into the other checkmates. But for today's lesson, this is a very important thing that you should know. So for that, we come to the end of the lesson.